Hello, Gauchos. My name is Raymond Wang, and I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. Before I begin my speech, I'd like to dedicate this to my grandpa, who's currently in a hospital unconscious, but I do have the hope that he'll recover. This is you, Grandpa. To my fellow graduates, today is finally the day. We entered high school in an era of mass and toilet paper shortages, when we took classes in pajamas and hung out with friends over iMessage. But 4 years later, we can finally say that we made it. Because after 12 years of hard work, this is the final ceremony to set off a new chapter in our lives, in the final moments before we're hit with taxes and laundry and so many other responsibilities. As we close this last chapter of our high school experience before something new, I want to share a few lessons about the old. And like any good stories, these ones have lessons to be learned. My first story is about resilience, and it comes from one of my friends. You see, most people know my friend as the smart guy, the one who always has the answer and is the first one to raise his hand in class. But underneath all that intelligence, there's strength and determination that few people know about. To put it simply, this friend, like me, is a nerd. It's okay, I got permission to call him that. But like nerds do, from his sophomore spring to his junior summer, he applied to 16 research programs that each were basically the equivalent of a college application. Over a year of writing, revising, and submitting applications only to get rejected one after the other 15 times in a row. But he kept working. Can you imagine that? Getting rejected 15 times back to back in anything, but still having the willpower to keep going forward. Because that's what my friend did until his 16th and final decision read accepted. When I asked him later how he could keep going in spite of constant setbacks, he had one simple thing to say to me that I still remember to this day. It was only 5 words. I had faith in myself. From the outside, people know my friend as Sammy, the guy going to Harvard. But when we see him, we should think of those 5 words. I had faith in myself. Because that simple phrase is the essence of resilience. Because in life, you'll get rejected countless times, whether it be work, job, raises, or anything else you might want. Because life is hard and nothing worthwhile comes easy. But so long as you believe in yourself, so long as you have faith, then you'll always be able to get back up to accomplish great things. My second story is about happiness, and it comes from my sister Violet, who is a graduate from the class of 2020. You see, 4 years ago, when I had just graduated middle school, I asked my sister a very simple question. What is the biggest lesson you learned from high school? She paused, leaned over and stole a bite of my sandwich, and responded after a few chews with, not being an and-then person. She explained to me, an and-then person is someone who constantly says, and then I'll be happy. We've all met the type. It's a person who says, I'll just get to the weekend, and then I'll be happy. I'll just get past this work shift or past my finals, and then I'll be happy. I'll just get to graduation, and then I'll be happy. If we don't take the time to start living life now and trying to enjoy the little moments, the small joys of day-to-day life, then we'll always be trying to reach those and-then moments that never truly come. Because happiness comes from the acceptance of yourself in the moment rather than the constant race with milestones. Because as my sister taught me, we need to stop living as and-then people and choose to move forward as right nows. My final lesson is about courage, and it comes from Mr. Lockton, one of the teachers here at Casa. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Lockton was an attorney for 10 years before he chose to become a teacher. 10 years of practicing law combined with all the time spent in general education and law school. But when I asked him why he chose to become a teacher, he gave me a simple response. As he said, practicing law teaching students meant more to me because I actually see the impact I was having. There's a genuine sentiment in education, and I think that's worth more than the money I got from practicing law. Is that not admirable? To have the courage to abandon a well-worn path to seek something more. For so many of us, it's easy to get caught up in the rat race and abandon morals for money and passion for profit. But to have the courage to pursue something new, even at the detriment of something material like wealth, is something we should all aspire to learn from. Because even if you win the rat race, even if you stand at that finish line holding up the big shiny trophy that says, I won, you'll still be wearing an empty crown filled with empty achievements. And you realize that at the end of all, it still means nothing. For Mr. Lockton, we should think of courage, the kind that only comes with taking a risk to seek something more. Now, you might ask, what do all these stories have in common? And the answer is simple. They come from people here. They come from the graduates, teachers, family, friends on the field right now, from people like you or me who have lived and struggled and triumphed in their own lives. Because the biggest lesson you can take from these stories is that everyone has a story. Everyone has something you can learn from, something you can be inspired by, that you might never know about if you aren't curious enough to just ask. For those of you who've seen the show Ted Lasso, you'll know this quote. Be curious, not judgmental. And I know that's hard when there's people out there who lie or cheat or enjoy pineapple on pizza. It's so easy to get caught up in negativity and judgment in today's world when life is painted to be black or white, when opinions can so easily be formed on an us versus them mentality. But we have to remember that at the end of the day, no matter how much you dislike somebody, no matter how much you hate somebody in the moment, they're still just as human as you or me. I want to ask you all to look around yourself now. Your friends, family, teachers, and everyone else around you all have stories that are just as compelling and important to the world as yours. Because like ogres and onions, people have many layers. Some of them might stink or make you cry, but that's just part of the journey of unpacking life. The stories I tell have roots in the people here, because I've learned in my 4 years at Casa that because we're all human, because we've all lived and cried and triumphed in the journey we call life, we all have traits to be admired. As we graduate and move on to something new, I want to remind you, the class that has fought past wildfires and pandemic and so much more, to reflect on yourself and try to understand those around you. I promise, if you take the time to just listen and hear about the dreams and experiences of other people, you'll be made a better person for it. Because if we all are a little more curious and a little less judgmental, we can make this world a better place for us all. Now, this is where I originally planned to end my speech, but in the last few months especially, across prom, senior ditch day, GQ, and all the other little moments before this day, I've realized a final lesson. These are the good old days. And with that being said, I want to end off a speech with a song to remind us about just living. It goes something like this. I invite you all to sing along if you know the lyrics. I wish somebody would have told me then that someday these would be the good old days. All this love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days. But for now, to you, the class of... But for now, to you, the class of 2024. Congratulations on graduating, and I hope you all enjoy these good old days. Thank you.